Hey guys, I see you're hopping on. Welcome. Hi, Dixie Belle. When you guys jump on, say hi. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Okay, let's get started. Hey guys, my name's Bianca, owner and artist of Lotus Theory Designs, and I am a brand ambassador for Dixie Belle Paint Company. Today we're going to be working on blending paint on this antique wardrobe. I keep wanting to call it an armoire. Anyways, it is a wardrobe, and I want to blend the two colors together better because as of right now, it's just kind of splotchy. So that's what we'll be working on today. The colors that are shown are Peacock and Cobalt Blue. So I thought, come on, camera, you can do it. There we go. I thought I would keep it simpler. I started to do the sides and change my mind. I was doing an array of colors and decided, you know what, for this live, I'm going to keep it simple and just try to blend the two colors together versus doing something super elaborate. So let me just show you. Hello, Deborah. Hi, Sherry. Let me show you what it looked like before. So this is just in the repair stages. And then I went ahead and I added these wood-you-bend moldings to the top. You can see them up there. And that's I added those using Type Bond wood glue. Excuse me. And then that's what it looked like after I added the wood-you-bend moldings. So from there, I put 2 coats of clear Boss on the entire base. And I did 2 because I wasn't sure if it was going to be a bleeder. If you're not sure, I pretty much prep every piece with Boss. If I'm not sure if it's going to be a bleeder, even if I think it's not, I still do it just in case, because there's nothing worse than getting through a paint job and it's bleeding through. I've had a lot of people say, oh, I did 2 coats of white, and the next day they wake up and it's totally orange or pink. So don't let that happen to you. Go ahead and coat it with Boss to keep the wood tannins in and keep your piece from bleeding. From there, I took it outside and I just sprayed it with 2 coats of each color. So we have Peacock on the top, and then we have the Cobalt Blue happening here on the bottom. And I'm actually going to do a blog pretty soon here, just giving some tips about how to spray Dixie Belle paint. So stay tuned for that. It's just a lot easier, obviously, something this size to get it all sprayed and on there. Anyway, so that takes us up into this point. And so what I want to do is try to blend together these colors. And I'm also going to do something up here. And I think I'm going to start up here. So let me move the camera in. And you guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm going to try to keep an eye on the comments here. Hi, Missy and Mara. Hi, Carolyn. Oh, let me mute my phone. I'm so sorry. Okay, here we go. Move this camera up. Let me bring you in a little bit closer. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tackle these details. As you can see, I went over them in the same color down below, which is the Cobalt Blue. And really, I did this is to fill in the details, just to give them some pop so they jump off the canvas a little bit better than they would if they were just the solid Peacock color. And I washed my brushes, so they're still a little bit wet, a little too wet for my liking. So I'm just kind of removing some of the excess moisture using a dry towel. All right, here we go. So I'm grabbing some Peacock. Hi, Victoria. Flattery will get you everywhere. Oh, Carolyn, gussied up. Here we go. So I put just a little bit of paint onto my brush here. I'm using an oval medium. So, and I'm actually going to wipe off some of the excess onto a plate. You guys know I love my styrofoam plates, okay? And here we go. I'm just going to feather over these details here. And it's probably going to, it might take a couple of passes. We'll see. Let me put a little bit more paint on my brush. And I've taught this technique before. My philosophy is that it's kind of like glazing, but a little bit easier. Because if I had to glaze this highly detailed applique, it would take absolutely forever. All right, so just kind of covering up the edges here. I'm going to kind of swirl my brush around into the details just a little bit. The goal is not going to be to saturate the whole thing, but really just to give it some dimension. So I'm probably going to end up having to, hopefully you can see that, I know there's some glare, go over these edges one more time with the Peacock, but that's okay. That's pretty much why I went ahead and got started on it first. Bring it in. Here we go. I'm going to work on this. So notice how I'm just lightly taking my brush and feathering over. And what it's doing is it's leaving the details inside that cobalt blue. I know it's hard to see. Glare. Yes, Carolyn, it is a wardrobe, actually. When I pull the camera back, I'll show you guys the inside. Oh, that one's coming out nice. You guys see that? So again, I'm using a wet brush, in this case an oval medium. And I am just putting a little bit of paint onto the brush, not too much. And just kind of feathering over the details. One more. So the reason I'm starting here is because I know that I'm going to probably want to do another layer of this feathering technique over it. And I want it to dry up a little bit. So what we're going to do after I get this one finished here is move on to the base. Let me move. There we go. Now you can probably see it better. Okay, so I'm going to pull the camera back. Let me just set this down. And try to give you a better look at it. There we go. So that's what we have so far. Right now it's kind of glary. Once it dries, it will be more uniform. Let me show you guys the inside. I don't know if I can pull my camera back far enough, but so it's a wardrobe. And I have it kind of masked off because I did spray it and I didn't want all the excess spray to come inside. And so that's why it's all taped off. So that's what it looks like. What's cool is that I haven't covered up, but there's labels on there. And the labels say shirts and pyjamas or pajamas, P-Y-jamas. So it's spelled funny. Maybe that was correct for the time. I'm not sure. But either way, I was intrigued. Okay, so now I want to move on to the base. Let me just check the comments really quick. Carolyn, the body is painted in Peacock and Cobalt Blue. Hi, Erin. Yes, Mara, it is way easier than glazing. Hello, Amy. Hi, Heather. Hi, Linda. Okay, so now I'm going to move the camera down. I move the camera a lot during my lives. I know, guys, it's kind of makes you seasick a little bit, but I want to make sure that I give you the best view. Sheila from Ireland, hello. Okay. Yeah, that should do it. Bring you in a little bit closer. Okay, so now I'm gonna bring my materials down on the floor here. Now I haven't quite decided if I want to do a soft blend or a more stark blend. I don't know, we'll see. So let me just get down on the floor. Hi, Diana. Rachel, hello. She says, hi, neighbor. We discovered during the last live that it is a small world. So can you guys see that okay? Notice how I have it up. That's kind of to keep the door from opening and closing. I have it tipped back at a very slight degree to try to keep the door closed. So I'm just going to jump right in. So I'm going to put a little bit of the cobalt blue onto a brush. And again, my brush is so wet. I just washed it. Sorry about that, guys. All right, there we go. And this one's good to dry. Okay. So we're on cobalt blue. Hi, Marianne from Iowa. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is start with a soft blend. If I change my mind, it's just paint. I can change it at some point. And let me actually start here. I also think what I'm going to do, see, I sprayed it. I was thinking I was going to do like a biolage ombre situation, but now I think I might bring this cobalt blue all the way up on the edges, and then it'll just be highlighted inside with the peacock. So I'm just working my way up, and I'm going to blend in manageable portions. So you'll see I'm pretty much going to stop about here. There we go. Okay. Always keep a Mr. bottle ready to go. Rachel from New Mexico, hello. Silvana, hello. Is it Johnny or Joni Fargo? Hello from Arizona. I always love when people are here in Arizona with me and viewing. All right, so you guys, there's so many different ways to blend. Every ambassador, content creator is going to give you a different method for the most part. This is just what I'm choosing to do. So the first thing I did is I sprayed down where I'm going to put my peacock in. The reason being is because it needs to be wet in order to get a soft blend, like super wet, so that way the paint is pliable. And I'm going to make sure that I keep the paint wet as I go along. So just kind of hose it down. Back to my cobalt blue brush. A little bit more cobalt on the brush here. Now I also have a clean, unused brush. See, there's nothing on it, and it's dry as well. So I'm going to take that brush and swirl around to blend these two colors together. If it starts getting dry, it's okay. Just mist it down, and it'll reactivate the paint. And my goal is going to be to create a softer blend so that the two colors kind of seamlessly roll into one another. And that is, let's see, so keep a wet towel by you, and you can wipe the excess off of your blending brush. And actually go back in a little bit with this cobalt brush. Sometimes I will spend, oh my gosh, so long trying to get the perfect blend. So there are certain ambassadors. I was watching Leah Rex the other day, and she was blending a yellow piece. I think it was Colonel Mustard, maybe with lemonade or something. And they were like, wow, you just make it look so easy. And she said that, you know, it takes practice. And even still, I mean, I blended lots and lots of pieces. Even still, there are times where I feel like I'm struggling to get it the way that I want. So I really just say that to kind of forewarn you. Back to that blending brush, and I'm just kind of blending that in a little bit better. And this is also why it's good to keep it in manageable sections. Part of the issue here in Arizona is that it is getting warmer, and so my paint dries a lot faster than it would in probably, you know, cooler climates. So a little bit more here, just a little bit more of that cobalt. You're going to give it to me, Peace. You're going to give me the blend that I want. I'm going to check your comments in just a sec, guys. Let me just get through this small section here. Okay. So hopefully you guys can see that. I know it looks a little bit dark. My lighting's all above and whatnot, but it is going to get there. It is going to get there. So let's move on to this side here. You're welcome, Sherry. Oh, Heather says, oh, here, I'll let you read it. Almost in tears over my blending not working, so frustrating. Yeah. Let me let you in, since you guys are appreciating my honesty right now. Let me let you in a little bit further into what goes on around here. I started painting this piece earlier today, the sides, just to kind of see what kind of a look that I wanted to give it. And I probably went over the same side like 3 times trying to, I don't know, figure out where I was going with it, what I was doing, because every once in a while, you know, it just doesn't come to me easily. Sometimes I have to play with the paint. So if you find that that's happening to you, it's totally normal. Even the most seasoned painters have moments of just, you know, creative blocks and it not coming out the way that they like it. All right, so a little bit more. Yeah, all right. So I'm gonna do the same thing here. I put a little bit of cobalt blue around the edges. We're just gonna get that nice and wet. Let's switch over to the Peacock. Slap some of this beautiful blue goodness on here. I have spots in this Peacock. Little chunks from not taking care of my jars here. I leave them open. I should not do that. All right. So right now I'm just kind of going over the edges where I put the cobalt. And let's start blending it. So grabbing that blending brush again. I'm using an oval small as well. If I didn't say that, I don't think I did. So, hi, Leanne. Yes, Sherry, that's a good point. Sherry says it's impossible to blend the same time every time. That is true. There are actually pieces that I will go back and look at. I'm like, how in the world did I do that? I don't even know how I achieved some of the things that I've achieved. But that's also part of the beauty of it, is that, you know, no 2 pieces will ever be alike. So I just sprayed a little bit of water onto my brush directly because that's just going to reactivate the paint that's already on there. There we go. That's better. So again, I'm just kind of hitting it in a swirling motion. Need to hit these sides again. I went a little bit too high, so I'm going to have to put a new coat of the cobalt along these edges here. And blending brush. There we go. That's better. Remember to keep the excess off of your brush here. It's going to go a long way. It's going to help you. Sometimes, you can see I kind of switched it up a little bit. So I went from doing a swirling motion to up, down, and side to side. You can also do that too. There really is, and I just feel like I want to stress this because I see so many people stressing out, like, I can't get it to look like yours, or I can't get it to look like, you know, Brandy's or whatever. You guys, this is your art. It's your work. It's your art. Just go with what comes out naturally for you. And another paint hair. That's all right. These newer brushes tend to do that sometimes, so they just need to be broken in. All right, so I think that looks pretty good so far. I think I want to just kind of hit this bottom space one more time. Thanks, Sue Ann. Mitty says hello to everybody. Hello, Mitty. I'm going to get that wet again. I really need to make sure that it stays wet so that way the paint does what I want it to. And also, if you're new to blending, my advice would be to pick colors that are similar. It's going to make it a lot easier. So if you find you're getting frustrated, say you're trying to blend together, I don't know, yellow and red, you know, that's definitely going to be a bit more complicated than, for example, these two blues that I have going on here. Okay, so I think that's good for now. I'm going to leave it alone. I tend to, you know, keep going over the same spot over and over, and then I get frustrated. We don't want to do that. I got to practice what I preach, right? I'm just going to walk away and leave it alone. And I'm actually going to move on to the next side here. So I got one more side that I'm going to hit with you guys, and then I want to take it back up above and go over those wood you bend moldings again. All right, cobalt blue. Coming up, up, up. Too much paint. There we go. Try not to overload your brush too. That's also, I tend to make that mistake. I'll put way too much paint on the brush, and that makes it a lot harder to manage. So I would say start with small amounts. You can always add more, but it's a lot harder to pull the paint back if you put too much on your brush. All right, so I've got the cobalt on there, a little bit of water, moving on to Peacock. And that went on pretty well. Onto my blending brush here. Again, just make sure I keep it nice and wet. And just going in a swirling motion, just marrying these two colors together. Almost there. Takes practice. All right, we'll just touch up some of this down here. A little bit of cobalt, come on, there we go. That'll be better. Just kind of retouch that up. And I think that's good. So I'm gonna step away from this portion for a sec. And we're going to go back up above. And we're going to tackle those wood you bend moldings one more time. Okay. So grabbing some Peacock Blue from down below here. Again, I'm just kind of wiping off some of the excess. Oh, Lindsay, thank you so much. Lindsay says that you do such great tutorials, make everything look easy, everything easy to understand. Yes, hopefully, hopefully that's what I'm doing here. That's the goal. To make it easy to understand and achievable for everyone. So as I explained earlier, I am putting a little bit of the peacock. So if you missed it earlier, all of this was totally solid in cobalt blue. And I'm just feathering over with the peacock color over the details so that I just have a little bit of the cobalt blue popping through. Because remember, the cobalt blue, I said I was going to take it all the way up. And so it doesn't really need to be heavy here. I just wanted just a little bit in there. Oops, I'm a little stuck here, guys. It's okay, hold on. We'll bring this in a little closer. There we go. So I'm just taking the peacock, just gently going over the edges here. Bring that up. There we go. Let me move over to the other side for you. There we go. Okay, so let me pull the camera back and kind of give you the full scope of how it's looking so far. Okay, it's so tall, it's so hard to get the whole thing in the frame, but you get the point, right? So again, my goal is going to be to take this cobalt all the way up. Let me see if I have any questions in the comments, and then I will keep going. Barbara Fife, hello. So the sides right now are kind of a mess. I'll show you. I was tinkering with it earlier because I wasn't sure what direction I wanted to go. So these are the sides. And I started off with kind of like a, I don't know, like an old fence is what I see in my brain. I don't think I'm going to stay with that. I think I'm just going to keep it simpler, as you see here, just using the two colors. And I'm likely going to add some kind of gold or something on the embellishments here when it's all said and done. I don't know. We'll see. I always say that I'm going to do something, and then it ends up taking a total left turn and going in a completely different direction. Yes, Lindsay. Well, when it is in the budget, Lindsay's dying to try some wood bends. When it is, you have to try them. They're so much fun. Hello, Yvonne from Florida. Debbie, I am using a oval medium, an oval small brush as my blending brush. And really, that's only because my oval medium brush is super wet right now. And so that was the driest brush that I had on me. But for me personally, I really like the oval medium and oval smalls brushes for blending. Brushes for blending. Try saying that 10 times fast. Yeah, so Lindsay says it's a cobalt going up to the woody bed. Yeah, I think I'm going to take it all the way up to the top and around. And if I hate it, I'll just paint over it. But maybe I'll love it. I don't know. Sometimes I have to, I just have to keep going. You know, I'll start something like, ooh, I don't think I like that. But once you see it in its completed state, it's something amazing. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to do that right now. Hi, Deb from Dallas. Okay. Pull this bad boy up a little bit closer. And let me actually just bring this down. So I'm going to do it from this angle this time instead of bringing the camera down, because I think the lighting is better this way. Thanks, Penny. Okay, so I have, let me just get my materials a little bit closer to me. All right, so I'm putting cobalt blue on the brush. Make sure I have my water bottle next to me. And I'm just going to keep going up the sides here, okay? Okay, so Lindsay has a really good question. Let me put it in the screen here so you guys can follow along. Benefit of keeping the blending brush dry. So the blending brush that I have is dry right now, but it's not totally dry. It's just, I started off with it dry. I didn't get it wet. And really, I just think that it helps the paint to blend a little bit better than if the brush were sopping wet, because what the sopping wet brush as your blending brush is going to do is move the paint around a bit more uncontrollably, if that makes sense. And so when you have a dry brush for your blending, it's going to use the moisture that's in the existing paint rather than add water to it, making it harder to control. I hope that makes sense. And that's a really good question. Thank you for asking it. Now, I think if I were doing a different technique, now I have done blending with dry brushes, totally dry brushes. And that's going to give you a totally different look, finished product. You know, if you guys follow me at all, then I have done a brush metal piece, and I used dry brushes to blend that. And what it does is it pulls your paint around. So the paint will start to dry because there's no moisture to keep the paint wet in your brush. And it's going to pull the paint around and give you a totally different look. I would say that look is going to be more grungy. So I'm just going to alternate between my colors until it's how I like it, okay? Don't get frustrated. Just keep going. Yep, I'm going to keep moving up. Yeah, I think so too. Yvonne says that she thinks that that would be a personal choice, and I'm going to agree with you there. I think it's all a personal choice. So Leah Rex and I started a show on Mondays. It's called Beyond the Brush Live. And the point of the show is to talk about the inside, the behind the scenes of the furniture art industry. And I think for our next episode, we're going to talk about what's your superpower. And I think that that's relevant to bring up now because, you know, Yvonne, you just had a good point. Like, it's a personal choice. And you are absolutely 100% spot on correct. It is a personal choice. What you paint and how you paint and what looks good to you and all of that is going to be personal. And I think that that's all part of finding your personal superpower. Or another way of saying that would be creating your own identity. I'm going to have to stand because the glare is making it hard for me to see. I'll pull this in while I'm at it. Ah! You guys still there? All right. Note to self, don't mess with the camera. Okay, so notice I just put a tiny bit of water on my brush. Just a little bit because it's drying up right there and I want to move it around, but I didn't really want to spray it directly onto it because I want to control the moisture. Again, personal choice. My advice to you would just be to play with it and see what you come out with. Keep playing until you find a way that works for you. Oh my gosh, you stop it. Again with the newer brush. There we go. Look at that sucker. How dare it? There we go. Like it never even happened. Hi, Bonnie. Bonnie's here from South Carolina. I'm actually going to spray that directly. There we go. That's better. Yeah, Yvonne. She said that's why she likes watching the lives. She's our techniques. I'm stuttering today, you guys. Blah, blah, blah. She can try them and see what works best for her. Absolutely. All right, so I think I need to hit that with a little bit more peacock. Just a little bit more of the peacock in there. Yeah, that's better. See, I overdid it, and now I have to go over the spot again. Step away. All right, let's see. I think I can live with that for now. You know, you can always go back in and touch things up. Okay. Hi, Lynn. Okay, guys, so I think that this is a good stopping point. I'm sorry I didn't make it all the way up to the top, but, you know, we only have so much time, and this technique, you know, this style is definitely going to take me, it's going to take me a bit. So, especially because of the size of the piece, but that's okay. I have all the time in the world. All right, let me just get myself together here. Okay, do you guys have any questions? Do your fingers always look like this when you're done painting? At least it's easy to clean off. I've used other paints and I'm like scrubbing my fingers to get off. All right, so if you have any questions, post them. So just to recap for those who are joining me late, you know, you might want to catch the replay from the beginning. But the goal is going to bring the, let me just slow down and learn how to talk, right? The goal is going to be to bring the cobalt blue, which is this darker blue color, all the way up along the edges and blend them in to the peacock color. And that's this, this blue that you see here. So when it's all said and done, I love gold, you guys. So I'm probably going to add some gold. Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to happen. It's inevitable. And then, you know, obviously I have some hardware and stuff that's going to go on it. I don't know. It may take a turn later on today. It may, you know, I may get into it and get all the blending done and decide, you know what, this would look fabulous. You know, that happens a lot here in my studio, and that might happen. So I'm not making any guarantees, but let me just see if we have any questions here before I go. So yes, Yvonne, catch the beginning. We just went over, well, just catch the beginning. Shauna, did you seal the piece before painting? If by seal you mean some type of prep or primer, I did. I used Boss, 2 coats of Boss underneath it before I started painting to seal in the wood bleed that could happen. Gold would be great. Thanks, Yvonne. Yeah, I think so. Gold makes me happy. Yeah, Tracy. Tracy wants to know if there's a finish a place to see my finished work, and there is. My page link is up in the description, so follow me. That would be lovely. Okay, so I think I've answered. Yes, Yvonne says, are those wood you bend? Yes, it is. They are wood you bend on it. So you'll see them in the beginning. Well, here, I'll just show you really quick. And then I'm going to let you guys go. So that's the wood you bend that I put on it. That was before the wood you bends were on it. And then that's with the wood you bends on it. So aren't they pretty? Okay, you guys. So I'm going to let you go. Thank you for joining me today. Again, my page link is up in the description. So go ahead and follow me. And also there's a link up there if you want to buy any of these products or more, including Wood You Bend. You can do that on the link above. And you can also find your local retailer in the link above that's in the description. So you guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you joining. And I will see you next Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern time, which is 12 o'clock here in Arizona Mountain Standard Time. Okay, guys, I'll see you. Bye.